And welcome to Hannity and a busy news night tonight. By a vote of 255 to 67, Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder was found in contempt of Congress. He served no jail time. Well, corrupt left-wing IRS director, remember Lois Lerner, found in contempt of Congress, also 0 days in jail. Hunter Biden, he refused to comply with an initial House subpoena and sent lawmakers on a wild goose chase, taunting them every step of the way. Hunter Biden will face no jail time for contempt of Congress and is now complying after asking for a brand new subpoena. And by the way, naturally, 2 former Trump advisors not so lucky. I wonder why. Joe Biden's Department of Justice is now trying to lock up both Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. In fact, Navarro was only sentenced to 4 months in prison this week, and Peter Navarro will join us and first tell his story exclusively here tonight. But first, breaking tonight, as reported by our very own Bill Malugin, quote, in Friday News Dump, Customs and Border Patrol officials report 302,034 migrant, which would be illegal immigrant encounters in December, the highest month ever recorded. And CBP also reports the Border Patrol arrested 19 more people on the FBI terrorist watch list in December, bringing the total to 50 arrests for the fiscal year 2024 so far. And as John Solomon first reported right here on this program last night, high-ranking former FBI officials are now calling the crisis at our southern border an alarming and perilous invasion of military-aged male foreigners who pose one of the most pernicious ever threats to American security. And now the showdown at the Texas border, it is escalating thanks to your president. Why? Joe Biden issued a deadline of today, demanding that Texas allow federal officials access to Shelby Park. This is at Eagles Pass, an illegal immigration hotspot on the border that was seized by Texas officials. In other words, Biden painted himself into a corner now because breaking tonight, Texas, they're not going to comply. So what's Joe Biden going to do now? Is he going to try and federalize the Texas Guard, as some Democrats are recommending? Is he going to try to arrest the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott? Will he order a physical confrontation between Texas security officials? Are you serious? This is a huge crisis. Joe Biden has now put them in a position where he's pitting law enforcement versus law enforcement. But a senior Border Patrol official, to their credit, telling Fox News border security agents have zero plans to remove razor wire or impede Texas from securing their border. He emphasized that his agency's relationship with Texas is strong. Rank and file Customs and Border Patrol agents also reportedly respect and appreciate what Texas is doing. And meanwhile, Texas Governor Abbott is now offering cash payments to law enforcement personnel that volunteer to man the border. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is working on a measure to send the Florida State Guard to Texas to help out. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is vowing to ship razor wire and send in that state's National Guard. Virginia, they've already deployed 100 soldiers and airmen. Arkansas and Nebraska have also previously deployed members of their National Guard and are vowing to send more in the future. North Dakota Governor Burgum, well, he sent 125 soldiers from the 817th Engineer Company. More and more states now are stepping up to the plate to fill a void left by Joe Biden's dereliction of duty. He's not fulfilling his oath to our Constitution, his oath of office. He's not enforcing the laws of the land. Not only that, he's aiding and abetting in the law-breaking. It is now more than ever obvious that either Joe Biden is the single most incompetent person to have ever stepped foot in the Oval Office, or he's just perpetuating the border crisis on purpose. To be honest, it's probably a mixture of both. Ask yourself, why is Joe Biden willing to set deadlines and possibly even use force against the state of Texas and Texas National Guard? But let's see, he cowers in fear when it comes to Iran and China and Russia and the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Why does Biden seem to hate fellow Americans more than the terrorists that want to kill us overseas, or maybe some that got into our country with the nearly 10 million illegal, unvetted Joe Biden immigrants? Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.